Welcome to a New Human Podcast. This show is a place where we find out who we truly are and what we strive to be. Listen as we unravel current history and make our way to a new beginning. I am your host, Justin Klein. Welcome to the New Human Podcast, Lawrence. I'm excited to get to know you. Tell me about yourself from the beginning and what got you into guest speaking and everything you're doing currently in today's world.
Well, ironically, as a child, I was actually really shy. I
Yeah.
was actually like really nervous all the time because, as I'm sure you're probably aware, but your listeners wouldn't be because this is their first time hearing about me.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm 20 years old and I
20.
have autism. Yeah, I'm 20.
I mean,
So,
honestly, after watching a few videos, I would say you're, like, in your 30s, just the
yeah,
way you talk and
I'm
stuff. Yeah.
thank you. I mean, I surround myself with a lot of very knowledgeable people, but as a child, I was always very different from everyone around me. I wanted to go watch National Geographic when they wanted to watch sports. And, what? Unfortunately, when you're a child, little kids are vicious. Like,
Oh, yeah.
when you're different than them, you get bullied a lot. They say a lot of very disrespectful things. So that was kind of rough. And then when I was 12, my dad got abusive towards me and my siblings, got kicked out the house at 13. COVID happened. So my mental health was in the gutter for
Yeah.
years. But as I started going to therapy and journaling and meditation and everything I could think of, I started to get better. I looked around and saw a lot of people who maybe didn't go through the same things I did, but they're sad, they're stressed out, they're frustrated. So I started making videos to try and help them. And that was the beginning of my career as a public speaker.
Well, I gotta ask, okay, so let's rewind a little bit. So you're going through COVID. How old were you at that age?
During COVID, I would have been, well, COVID lasted like 3 years ish.
Yeah.
So COVID started when I would have been 13.
Right, right. So where are you from then exactly?
I'm from Philadelphia, PA. We had riots. People were rioting, and it was madness.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's probably just wild. But going into that, you're 13 years old, you're going to school, and then out of nowhere, school's canceled, right? Like you're not
Yeah,
going to school. Your friends, did you lose your friends and everything?
yeah, because now there's nothing to do. You can't even hang out with people. Everyone think that if you sneeze near them that you're gonna die.
I mean, yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday, but I didn't get to experience, and I'm glad we're having this conversation as a teen, where you're used to I have kids of my own. I'm going to back up here a little bit. I got a 10-year-old, almost 11-year-old. So I see the value of his friends in the school system just to socialize with individuals his age, um, and to have that stripped away from yourself to where, you know, you're going to school one minute, you're laughing, having fun, getting your heart broke, who knows? And then the next minute you're just at home not doing anything. Like the world's ending and now what? So I mean, did the depression and anxiety and all that was that going on before COVID happened or was it like COVID just amplified it all for you?
Well, it was going on before COVID happened, but it got a lot worse when COVID happened because, now you're literally locked inside the house 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
It's the world's ending, and you go on social media, and all you see is doom and gloom. Then you have the George Floyd riots at that time. Then you have just people breaking into stores and people dying over toilet paper, and
Yeah.
yeah, like people were actually fist fighting outside for toilet paper.
So you're going through a hard time. How did you said you're talking about meditation. At what point did you I mean, it had to get really, really bad because for
Yeah, it
me
did.
and for yeah, I was gonna say, for me and for most people, um, that I stumble across in my journey, like, when we really start to make the turn, it had gotten as worse as it could get, like, it's rock bottom, and then we finally make that turn. For you, what happened? Like, how did you seek out meditation? When did the page and when did the tables finally turn for Lawrence to be the new Lawrence that you are right now?
Well, there were a lot of small things that built up to it, years of therapy prior to that point, journaling before that. But the thing that really set it in motion was when I was 15 and I was looking in my bathroom mirror and my face was just like super puffy and acne filled because you're stressed and barely sleeping and you're not really eating healthy because you're locked inside the house and your room's a mess and you stink and your hair is filthy and you just look at that and you're like, this is me. This is where I've gotten myself. And if I keep going on the path I'm going, it's only going to get worse. So having younger siblings made me also think about what example do I want to set for them. So it wasn't really much of a deliberate sitting down, conscious thinking. Yeah, I'm going to start meditating. It was more of a, I have to figure out something to feel better. And, those Buddhist monks in those temples, they seem pretty chill.
Yeah.
like I need to figure out what they're doing because everything I was trying wasn't working. I was trying 12 hours of video games a day, 16-hour screen times. That wasn't working. Running from the problem didn't solve anything, but when I started sitting with it, unpacking it and finding solutions, that started to work.
And I know, but for some of our listeners or new listeners might not know, those times that you're sitting quiet and starting to unpack, like, who is Lawrence? Like, asking
Yeah.
some deep questions, and especially for you, I mean, props to you, really, um, being that young to start figuring out, hey, this isn't working anymore, and I need to make some change and use that alchemy, that fire, to switch the tables, to come out on the other end. It's not for everybody, and it's very, very difficult to do. And so for you, it sounds like you had a bigger role to play here, for your siblings. It wasn't just, I mean, I can see yourself and myself included looking in the mirror sometimes when, it's dark out there and you don't really like the man you've become.
Yeah.
And that mirror, is intimidating.
Yeah.
But yeah, all you can do really is like, okay, today is the day for change. I mean, actually, uh, The Rock, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson,
Yeah.
he had a quote, and that's when I just said it there, that registered with me was, you know, um, many of us we keep procrastinating and we're saying, tomorrow I'll do this or today I'll do this. Today is going to be the day for change. But the way The Rock puts it, he says, this is day one. Day one, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to build this new guy that I need to be. And then tomorrow comes around. Day two, I'm going to be this guy. And he keeps going on, day three, day four, day five because a lot of us do say that, we're like, one day I'm gonna be this person, and then just keeps turning into one day, but nothing's really
Yeah.
happening. You gotta stick to that little small goal of day one and really start diving in?
Yeah, yeah, as much as, COVID sucked, the one benefit I do have to say about it is COVID probably was the I mean, now that I think about it, COVID almost certainly was the reason why I got to this level of mental depth because you have that gave me years of time to just sit and think
Yeah.
and do nothing. But like the distractions were still there. But like you just said, it COVID was 3 years of just being locked in the house, doing nothing, having nobody to really talk to, and you just have to sit with yourself and look at the man in the mirror. And as intimidating as that is, you realize that, I mean, the mirror doesn't lie.
Yeah.
It shows you what you are.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you want to change the reflection, like if you want to change the man that you're being, you got to change it. Like you can't, have you ever heard of Bob Proctor?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so Bob Proctor, he was one of those guys from like the 60s and 70s who talk about this sort of stuff. And he had this quote that said, "Many men try to comb their hair in the mirror, but if you comb the mirror, you're not combing your hair." Or in
Hell,
other words, you're trying to change the world, but you won't change yourself. Like, I'm trying to change my bank account, but I don't want to change my spending habits.
going into the reflection, looking in the mirror and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know how much you register with this, but this happens to me. Well, it has been happening to me of in the last couple years. Um, People that are coming to me, we do some healing work in our studio, and the clients that come to me, or even in general, if I'm just at the mall or out to eat or whatever it is, and I'm meeting somebody new, I can't help but notice myself in them. Are you following me? Where
Huh.
yeah, we have a lot of same tendencies going on right now. And what I'm beginning to say to you, and that's where I want to see what your input is on this. It is a reflection. Everybody is a reflection of ourself. It's just how you interpret it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And the interesting thing, too, is that makes me think about how a lot of the things that we get mad at other people for, if we're honest with ourselves, the thing we're mad at them about is something that we ourselves do. Like, I, I absolutely love her. Like, I absolutely love her. Wonderful person. But I've had many times where I've had family members of mine who would say things or get very un. They would get upset for reasons that seemed like it didn't make sense to me, like unjustifiable reasons. And at first, I would get mad at them back and we would be going back and forth, but it was just messy.
Mhm.
But as I got older, I slowed down and I thought, okay, why does this make me mad? Because I do that, but I don't want to admit it. So instead of admitting that this person is reminding me of a part of myself that I don't like, I'm going to project it onto them. And all this stuff is happening subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm projecting this onto them so that I don't have to admit it about myself. But when you
Absolutely.
look at the mirror and you say, all right, well, what is this person telling me about myself? What are they reminding me of about myself? Without judging, without saying good or bad or right or wrong, just what is this reflecting to me? Then you're able to acknowledge it and change it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really that simple. That's a practice of mine I do as well. I ask the question though, what is this really about? In those moments, like you just said, the feelings where you're having a difficult conversation or you're sad or mad. I mean, typically it's something negative,
Yeah.
and if you ask that question, like, what is this really about? And then it makes you turn inwards towards yourself versus, projecting like you just said, you know?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like it's see, the beauty of this is that once you learn to do it, life becomes so much more peaceful. But catching yourself in the moment, like when you have the opportunity
Yeah.
to say something back, when you have the opportunity to give in to that impulse and that anger and that frustration, and in the moment it feels justified, but you catch yourself, that's a practice that takes effort. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more you understand that that person isn't even really mad at me.
Yeah.
They're mad about something that they haven't dealt with, and they're just unknowingly taking it out on me. So it's not personal.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it, man. Gosh, I cannot believe you're 20 years old. You
Yeah,
know, like,
I
I mean
spend so much time like when people ask me why do I think like this, a big part of it is I love fishing. Like I go fishing for 8, 10 hours by myself, just sitting there fishing.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be thinking about my thoughts. And I'm understanding things like, well, who am I?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, oh, my name's Lawrence, and I look this way, and I talk this way, and I dress this way. No, those
Yeah.
are just a bunch of labels.
Mhm.
Well, I'm my own thoughts, but
Yeah.
I'm able to read my thoughts, so those can't be me, and I can't be this body. So you come to the realization that we're all kind of just like these little spirits floating around. And
Yeah.
when I talk to people my age about this sort of stuff, a lot of times they look at me like I'm crazy because they're like, "What?"
Yeah. And
But
that's that I think will come with time for you. Uh, because myself included, so mine started when I was 32, 33 is when mine happened, what you're talking about. I would call it an awakening or whatever you wanna call it. And mine was I was, an alcoholic, so I was deep on my path, and it was, like, finally, like, something's gotta change, and just completely got sober, and that's where all of this knowledge and healing began for me, like you're talking about. And then as you kept going, or at least in my case, I kept going, the word that stands out to me that you were just talking about is self-realization. So you're asking yourself those questions, like, and watching your thoughts, and it almost like a third person view, where it's like
yeah,
we're in this game, and it's like I can see what you're thinking and what is about to happen and what you're gonna do, and how are you going to react, and I like what you said earlier that, it's easy to say, "Oh, like, watch your thoughts and take a breath before you react to somebody." That's easy to say. It's so, so difficult to do. Um, and as you keep going and going, it does get easier and easier and easier. But my point I'm trying to make is this younger generation, or shouldn't even say younger generation. Let's just say many human beings. I mean, they can be old, middle age, young. And I get what you're saying is, how do you come across with your words to not confuse people and or think you're crazy? Because I would say the same
yeah,
things. But my closest example I can give to you on that is the Bible, is that the words they say in there, and even that Jesus would interpretate to his disciples, they he spoke in tongue that was for every generation and for every person on their path. Because I fully understand what you're saying right now, but to some people, it's like, "What are these 2 talking
yeah.
about right now?" And
Like,
yeah, yeah, I've been there before where you listen to a podcast, it's like, "Man, I just do not understand what they're saying." And it wasn't meant for me at that moment, but if we can uh, make our words more questionable for everybody, for the young, for the old, for the middle, the 40, 50-year olds, then it's like they can apply these questions to themselves in a more understandable way. Does that make sense?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and what you said with the Bible is so huge because
Yeah.
I reference it a lot because I've read the whole thing front to back,
Same here.
annotated it and everything. Like
Yeah.
I've deciphered the thing. And one of the things that like so I don't go to church anymore, but when I used to, one thing that always like struck out to me was the phrase where like Jesus is, giving his speech and, talking to everybody. And he's like, is it not written in your law that ye are gods?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold up, Pastor, why are we digging into this? Let's think about this right here. Like, what is this being said? Because in the Bible, for those who are unfamiliar with how it's written, capitalization matters. Lowercase means something that is of a lower caliber, human, law, things like that. Capital is reserved for like God, like all supreme, all knowing, Lord. So it's lowercase g, which means like you are the son of God. You are made in the image of God. And I'm like, hold up. If I'm made in the image of something that said, let there be light, and then there was light, that must mean that I could do something too. So I can't turn water into wine, but it's a metaphor for how you can turn what you have into something else. You can, like, be reborn. You can be, like, your eyes can be opened. You
Yeah.
can go from who you were into who you're becoming. And when I'm giving speeches at schools and organizations, I don't really talk about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I talk about the idea of like you can change your mind and change your life, which again
Yeah.
is supported in the Bible with be ye not conformed to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. A
Mhm.
lot of the stuff that like I teach comes from the Bible.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
like adapt it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I'm same similar roots again, uh, mirrors of each other. I went to church, most of my life and don't go anymore, but I practice teachings from all religions. I'm not, I'm every religion,
Yeah,
and
and that's
me
something that's like hard for most people to grasp.
right, and sometimes I'm no religion, I'm the Justin religion, like, I like my religion, and, what I'm getting at, though, is, you know, uh, it's difficult to keep practicing that because once you have a message for somebody and they're not understanding it, and then they're giving you those looks, like, let's dive into this a little bit. So you're at a school making a speech, and how are you coming across to these teenagers? Because I know that's one thing that I was reading in the emails was, guest speaking at schools and, a man of your age, like, you fit that category, like, that's a perfect, age to go into schools because some of these teenage kids can look at Lawrence and are like, "Wow, he sees me. He's a few years older than me, so, maybe I can be like this guy." So, where I'm getting at for question for you is like when you're talking in certain tongues like that to these teenagers, what tools do you bring to the table to help them register? Are you
Okay.
following me? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I go into a school, there's like a main theme that I'm going in there with. So I'll talk to the principal and figure out like, okay, what do you want these kids to walk away knowing? Like, what do you want them, what's the before and after that you want? And then I will adapt to that. And they'll
Okay.
say, okay, I want them to care more about their test scores. Like, I want them to try harder in school. And then I go in there and I ask them, okay, what's the life that you want? And then, I have a couple of them raise their hands like, oh, I want to have $1 million. I want to drive this car. I want a wife and 3 kids, whatever they say. And then I take that and I'm like, okay, to get that, what would you have to do? Well, I'd probably have to go to college, get a pretty high paying job. Okay, so to get to college, what do you have to do? I have to graduate high school with some good grades so I get into these colleges. And then from there, I explain why you should actually care about your grades.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that we just talked about, I put it in their language,
Mhm.
such as, well, Lawrence, I feel like I'm just not smart. Well, why do you feel that way? Because like I've been failing my test and, people are telling me that I'm stupid. Well, are you what other people tell you that you are? Or do you get to decide who you get to be? Well, huh, I like the idea of deciding who I get to be, even if that's hard. So
Yeah.
today, what are you going to do? Well, I could start changing the way I talk about myself. Whenever I say that I feel stupid, I could stop and say, no, I'm getting smarter each day. And then I study. And then little by little, I actually get smarter each day. And then I'm not faking it, because you're not faking it until you make it.
Yeah.
You're changing every day and getting better and better. So that's how I turn all of that renew your mind and
Yeah. Yeah.
biblical theology and metaphysics into actual human language.
Yeah, you're doing it, man. I mean, you are. Props to you. Um,
Like, because trust me, when I go off the deep end about this stuff, I was,
yeah.
you mentioned you saw some of my YouTube videos.
Uh-huh.
Bef Earlier today, I was recording a video. It's not up yet, but, it's about how to brainwash yourself.
How to brainwash yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I explained how, like, brainwashing actually works, and how if you just change what you're around and what you do and what you say about yourself repetitively long enough, you convince yourself that, wait, I can achieve whatever I want,
Yeah.
even if it seems delusional. It's not delusional to you, because you brainwashed yourself into believing that you could.
Yeah, well, that's the key word right there is belief. You have to believe for something to happen. Um, that was a long one for me to learn. And after I feel like where we're going with this conversation and some of the stories you've already shared, you've probably seen some miracles happen in your day, right?
Yeah,
We call them miracles,
I
you know?
have.
And after you see a few miracles happen, you start to believe, like really believe in them. At first, you're like, how did that happen? And then another one happens and it's like, okay, I'm watching. And now you're really trying to understand how that happened. And then another one happens and it's like you somewhat manipulated it or had control behind that miracle. And
Oh,
then now you're figuring it out and you're like, "Oh my god, it's all about miracles and it's all
yeah.
about my mind and the power of believing a certain thing?" And
Yeah.
yeah, when you go into that power of belief, I mean, in your case and Lawrence's power of belief, what miracles can you share with me? Do you have
So
any that stand out in particular?
one of them was prior. Okay, so years ago, I recorded all of my YouTube videos outside, or
Okay.
I record them in my bedroom. And that's a problem, because I have 5 younger siblings. They're in the back screaming. It's raining outside. So there were a lot of times when I couldn't record. And when I was 18, yeah, I would have been 18. I had the idea of, it would be pretty darn nice to have my own office. And then I just allow myself to daydream about it, like, where would I want it to be? How would I want it to look? What features would I want? And I wrote this down. I said, I want a 24/7 secure office in the middle of the city near a train station for under $200 a month. Guess what I found? A 24/7 secure office building directly in the middle of my city, next to a train station, for 100. Well, it was 213.
Yeah.
But after talking with the guy who, ran the building and the pricing, he got me a deal on it for 179. I
Mhm.
got the exact thing, every line, letter, and bar, what I wanted. Another example, when I was, yeah, I would have been 19 at this point. Hold up, let me remember. No, I was still 18, actually. Yeah, I was. So there was a podcast that I reached out to, and the guy, we're talking. Well, I reached out to the podcast, and out of nowhere, my phone starts ringing. It's the guy from the podcast, my email signature and my actual phone number.
Mhm.
He then proceeds to say, "Hey, do you want to record it in person?" And I took a flight from Philadelphia to Detroit. He picked me up from the airport. I stayed in his house for 3 days, and it was wild. Like, it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And as I got off this plane, I'm crying because I'm like, how did I get here? Not how did I get on this flight, but this is my life. This
Yeah.
this is what I do. And I was in awe because if you went to 14-year-old Lawrence and told him this, he would say, "There's no way that you're making that up.
Yeah.
That's a La La Land. That happened for Tony Robbins. I'm not Tony Robbins."
You're just
Like,
Lauren.
yeah, I was like, I'm just little old me.
Yeah.
And the last one I'm going to share is, oh, I could name a bunch. Speaking of that, currently I just got an email about a podcast that wants to interview me too. Like, it just popped up as I was talking.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I've had time where like I randomly found money, like the exact amount of money that I needed for something.
Mhm.
I got a check mailed to me super early. Man,
Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
one thing I want to mention before while we're still in this point is
Yeah.
when I talk to people about the whole idea of how your beliefs create your reality, they're like, I mean, yeah, that sounds good, that's motivational, but like, I want the science behind it. Like, how does this scientifically work? Quantum mechanics. So, when things are really, really small, the universe acts weird. For example, it's called quantum entanglement. Let's say I have a basketball. I have two basketballs. Like, I have a red one and I have a blue one. We can think of these as particles. I can put the red ball on the moon and I can put the blue one on Earth. If I bounce the blue one, the red one starts bouncing instantly. There is nothing physically connecting them. There's no wire, there's nothing. This just happens. Or the fact that the double slit experiment, where if you shine a beam of light, it acts like a wave, like it's everywhere all at once at all times. But if you look at it, it's only in one spot. The
Yeah.
only difference is whether or not you're looking at it.
Mhm.
And we don't know why this happens. We just know that it does. Like, the smartest scientists have spent their entire life trying to figure out why that happens, and we just know it does.
Yeah.
And for people who are religious, the Bible explicitly says the ways of God are past finding out. Or in other words, it just happens. You
Yeah,
don't need to know why, you don't need to know how, you just need to know it does. So if someone is religious, it's like the and I'm using the Bible because that's the most easy to understand for people.
absolutely.
It repeatedly says that as you believe, it is done upon you. As you sow, so shall you reap. Knock and it is open to you. Um, there's like a million verses that tell you your beliefs are going to affect your life.
Yeah.
When Jesus walked on water and everyone said, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do that?" Because I believed I could.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the answer.
Yeah.
Now, we're not physically walking on water, but
Yeah.
we're doing miracles every day without even knowing it.
Yeah, and some of them don't need to be the water. I mean, just like you said with the money, the dreaming, manifestation, if you wanna call it, um, writing it down. I myself have had some weird, not believable things happen to me. And just like you said, for example, and what I like to do though is break them down, like really break them. Like, how did that happen? Because for myself, um, mine was all about like spirituality in the beginning of my journey. And then it was like, I had practiced religion very a lot when I was a kid. But then I was trying to, like, regroup, like, put the whole package together is where I'm going with this, like, the religion, the spirituality, the physicality, the science, um, writing on paper, like, I liked how you said I got out a piece of pen and paper and, my office, like, what would be my dream office? Maybe you're drawing it, you're writing where it's at, you're writing yourself a note, so we're permanently now have something tangible we're looking at, and then out of nowhere, boom, it happens. So it's interesting, how it's all becoming one circle right now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we're putting it all together, like, you're hitting just like we talked about in the Bible and everything, like, you can go to a high school and talk to teenagers, in their language, so they understand something, you're giving them a roadmap, and then me and you can have a conversation right now that's probably, might not be for everybody, we're trying to
Yeah.
make it for everybody,
It's
but
like
yeah, but some things are like, "Oh, I completely understand what they're saying," or it might be too much, but the point and the fact of the matter is I feel like we're getting, as a species, as a collective, whatever you wanna call it, we're getting so close right now to where this conversation can touch the teenagers, it can touch the scientists, it can touch the spiritual community, the religion, Catholics, Baptists, whatever. It's becoming universal is where I'm going with this, like
yeah,
we're becoming universal beings instead of just human beings, we're starting to touch everybody, and that's a powerful and important time, where how lucky are we to be doing this right
very,
now?
like,
You know what I
it's
mean? Like, how lucky are we? Oh,
it's like even the fact that we're alive at all, you have
yeah,
to think about the odds of that, like, the odds that your dad and mom met, and the odds that their dad and mom met, and the odds that, like, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. None of those people got eaten by a tiger?
yeah.
Like, your
Oh,
birth in and of itself is a miracle. Like, it was, can't remember the exact number, but they calculated that the most unlikely thing to ever happen in the universe is for you to be born,
yeah,
because every single thing ever had to go perfectly right for that to happen. Like, out of all the hundreds of billions of sperm cells and all the hundreds of millions of egg cells that your mom has, those two came together, and you didn't die in the womb of a million possibilities. Like, your mom didn't, like, I don't know, have a stomach cramp and it crushed your head as a fetus.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's your birth in and of itself is already a miracle. So when you think like, "Oh, I'm just little old Johnny and I could never succeed. No one from my family's done it before." Well, I mean, you could be the first. And what's stopping you? Well, it's stopping me because I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I don't have this, I don't have that. Can you get it? I mean, probably, like, I might not be able to get direct mentorship from somebody, but I could buy a book off Amazon.
yeah,
I could watch a YouTube video. I could journal. I could, I don't know, go down to like a social event and try to meet these people. Like, for me, one of the reasons I'm so good at public speaking and doing all of this is because I meet other public speakers by going to events.
yeah,
And by seeking these people out, I find them and they're willing to help.
yeah,
But we kind of get raised in this mindset of, everyone's out for themselves. Nobody's going to support you. Nobody loves you. And everyone just snakes and evil and rich people are terrible and da 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 da. And I mean, yeah, there are some evil rich people, but in my personal experience, the people who have been the nicest to me have been the most well off.
mhm,
It's like they love helping. if they see that you're willing to do the work,
Absolutely.
even if it's as simple as they just give you a single piece of advice. That single piece of advice might change your life. Or I've had big things that have happened. Like, I went to an online networking group of other public speakers, and the guy who runs the business, his name's Ron. And this is a service that helps speakers to get on podcasts, speak at organizations, business training, all that stuff. Normally, it was like 5 grand. I know it was like 8 grand or something. And after hearing my life story and what I've been through when I was 18, he gave it to me for free for the rest of my life because he was like, the world needs more of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a miracle too.
It is. And, as you were talking and saying, all about these guest speakers and, people, let's just say rich or, power, there was a time in one of their lives too, that they were on the bottom and they were swimming in the mud and wanting somebody to take a chance on them too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I was talking to my son about this yesterday. It's funny how we're talking about it now is that, like, there's always going to be somebody, just because they might appear that they're on top of the world right now, just know, it took something for them to get there, and what I'm getting at is like, you're not better than me and I'm not better than
Yeah.
you, and we're all just human beings, and it can be intimidating though, I mean, especially for the teenagers or children out there, like picking on, Tony Robbins or whoever it is that it's like, oh my god, it's really you, and it's a celebrity, and you're freaking out, because it's like, I finally get to meet you, and you just shit the bed, but in all reality, they're just trying to calm you down so they can have a conversation
Yeah.
and meet the real Lawrence, you know what I mean? Like, I wanna see the real you, not somebody that you think you are, that you're not. Like,
Yeah.
show me the real deal, and, that's just what I'm looking for in everybody is the real you, you know?
Yeah. And ooh, that sounds a deep point. That real you.
Yeah, the real
It's
you.
like people, whether we're taught to do this or we just naturally do it for whatever reason, people put on the like mask of I am this, like I'm this label, I'm this job, I'm this position, I'm this income amount, I'm this religion, I'm this whatever. Like people use all of these, this is me, look at this.
Mhm.
But when you strip all of that away, beneath all of it, the thing that remains is the real you. Like the person you are behind closed doors, the person you are when nobody's watching, the person you are when you're just being you. It's like your truth.
Yeah.
And people use these outside things to hide their truth. But when someone is real and authentic, we can smell that on you. Like we can smell through that. We might not say
Absolutely.
it, but we can tell that, oh, like maybe, and it's not talking down, it's just for whatever reason, maybe that person isn't as far along on their journey. Maybe they've never sat down and asked themselves these sorts of questions because, most people don't, just
No, they
naturally.
don't.
Most people don't ever ask themselves, who am I?
Mhm.
Deeper than my name, my title, my label. Most people don't ask those things. And they just live how they live.
I just call it a journey, not a destination, just a journey. And I'm seeing more and more people ask themselves those big questions. More and more people that were in a career for 25, 30 years as a plumber, whatever it is, that are now, becoming a guest speaker or becoming a massage therapist or becoming a comedian or an artist or a gardener,
Yeah.
doing like stuff that brings them true happiness. They're finally, and I think that's the biggest culprit for this is finding love, finding
Mhm.
joy, finding happiness, and when you find that, it's like, "Dang, that
Yeah.
feels so good." Like, I wanna keep unpacking that joy, I wanna keep feeling that, and then you start stripping away all those layers, like the onion effect, and trying to find the core, and it's like, "Oh my god, I'm finally understanding what this is all about. I get it."
Yeah. And
So it's happening, you know?
yeah, I've been noticing that like too, where it seems like they're just larger rising up in thought
Mhm.
because we're I'm trying to put this into plain English.
Yeah.
We're at a transition point of people waking up to the fact that there's more to life than go to school, get a degree, pay taxes, and die. Like people are realizing that there's more to it than that. Wait, it's
Yeah.
like we're all playing the game, and then you have people who realize, like, guys, I know that you think that that's the game, but that's not really the game. And we gotta get called crazy because until we figure out how to explain this stuff in regular English, it sounds like trying to explain color to a blind person.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, I feel happy, like I feel joy, I feel really good. And we're like,
Mhm.
no, you don't like this is something different. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel, proud of my career. And you're like, yeah, I know you do, but like when you tap into that thing,
Yeah.
like when I wake up in the morning, I bounce out of bed excited to hop behind this camera and run my mouth on the internet. Not because I'm like, I want to prop myself up and think I'm so great. No, I want to prop other people up and show them that you're great too. Like, I feel love loving people. And it's, and when we describe it this way, like when you're on the other side of it, it sounds like this beautiful harmony and awakening. But the
Uh-huh.
process of getting there
It's
is
brutal.
painful.
Yeah, it's brutal. There's
It's
just
dark.
it
It's
is.
like you have to sit there and unpack your childhood traumas. You
Yeah.
have to realize that, wait, as much as I'm going to use myself as an example, as much hatred and anger as I had towards my dad, he was that way for some reason. I don't know why, and I'll never find out why. But I had to stop hating him in order for me to start loving myself. And that's a wild thing to wrap your head around. How people say, they thought the cliche that, like, forgiveness will heal you. But it does. But you have to, like, forgive your enemy for what they didn't know that they would inflict. And that can be really hard to do because, like, you know, it's not justifying what the other person did. It's not excusing what they did. It's not saying that, like, they're they're perfect and flawless. No, it's saying that by letting go of the hatred that you hold, you free yourself to start loving life again. And that was not easy to do. It took me years of it. It's
Absolutely.
I always come back to talking about journaling because when you write this stuff down
Mhm.
and you unpack it and you
Yeah.
read it back to yourself, like I have journals going back to when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get one of them, flip to a random page, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I came from that?
Yeah.
I actually made a free journal ebook if you don't mind me giving away to the
Yeah.
audience. Like there's
Yeah.
a link I'll just send you to put in the show notes.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, yeah, we'll get all that stuff in there. I wanna unpack your dad for a moment here
Of
because
course.
I was getting messages, and myself included, I've had my own family issues. Um, and For me, where I came to realization of the childhood that I had and this man that I had to become, and for me to fully heal from this, it was knowing and understanding that, my dad, your dad, was the catalyst to get you to who you are right now. Without, let's say, the pain or whatever it is, the abuse or what it is, in those deep, dark times, we had to experience that in order to see the complete 180-degree yin and yang symbol, light from that to know the difference. And, when I, for myself, can say, thank you. Thank you for, raising me to who I am. Thank you for those hardships. Thank you for all of the stuff I didn't agree with when I was going through it. But without those times, there is no way I'd be having this conversation with you, Lawrence, right now. No way.
Yeah,
Because I would still be on my path of destruction, and still going and going and going. So, looking back at forgiveness and even challenging moments to our listeners or to anybody that hears this, like in those deep, dark times, yes, they're brutal. God, it could seem like the worst thing in the planet that's happening to you. But if you can just switch your perspective for a moment and ask yourself, like, what is this really about? And see what's really happening and maybe thank them for being that evil or cruel, which it might seem to the at that time to you. That's when the tables turn and that's when you start, changing. Real change
yeah,
begins, you know?
that's a well put
Yeah.
because
You know?
it sounds like to most people, understandably, it sounds crazy to say that you have to learn to be thankful for the people who hurt you. That sounds wild.
Yes.
But it's in the gratitude for the lesson you learned through the pain that you're
Mm,
able to transmute it. Like,
yeah. Alchemy.
I yeah,
Mm,
like, I know a girl who she makes videos. It's like I found her page through this, and we, like, chatted for a bit. She makes videos where she talks about how when she was 9 years old, she got raped inside of a church, and how despite all of that, like, despite that and her having, like, a terminal illness where she can't eat food through her mouth, she had to, like, have a feeding tube and all these things, despite all the wildest, craziest stuff she's been through, she talks a lot about it openly and how it's helped her to understand that she might not she doesn't understand God's plan for her life. She doesn't understand why that happened, but she understands that despite that, she had to learn to embrace whatever God has in her life story because it's completely possible, and she's mentioned this, that that happened so that she will be on the internet talking about this, so other people who went through similar experiences would know that they're not alone.
mhm,
Or, again, circling it back to the Bible, before Jesus went around doing all the miracles and all these signs and wonders, he spent 40 days and 40 nights in a desert,
mhm,
starving, being tempted by the devil with every conceivable temptation possible. So, before the sunshine and rainbows, before, Moses goes and frees the slaves, before David slays Goliath, before Jesus raises the dead, before Buddha enters nirvana, before all of that, life gets really crazy and you have to navigate the journey, learn to be grateful for the storm while you're in it. And then once you're grateful for the pain, while in the pain, embracing the lesson that it teaches you, that is when you enter the kingdom.
Man, that's beautiful. You know, it's it's so true though, like everything you just said. And but it's so difficult. When you're again in the storm, when you're on your last nerve and then you just I mean, there's nothing left to do but surrender. Nothing left to do but
Yeah,
surrender to it. And then it finally frees up. There's the sun.
like, and it's wild because understandably, and for every like, it makes perfect sense why you wouldn't wanna surrender to that.
Yeah,
It makes perfect sense why you wish the worst upon this person who hurt you. It makes perfect sense,
yeah,
but you get to a point, and I did, where I sat and I was like, "Okay, where's that gonna get me, though?" Like, if I spend the rest of my life angry at all the people who bullied me and angry at my dad and all these things, where's that gonna get me? Like, how's that gonna make me feel? It's only gonna get worse. Like, being mad at somebody for what they did doesn't change what they did. It
yeah,
happened. But I can decide, all right, I'm going to stop allowing this to keep, I'm going to stop wallowing in it. I'm
yeah,
going to move forward even when it hurts. And that's a journey in and of itself, because then you start to understand that you don't have control of the things you think you do.
yeah,
Like, you can't control what other people do. You can't control the economy. You can't control whether or not somebody cuts you off in traffic. You can't even control what your own children do.
yeah,
Like, you can't really control anything except you.
yeah,
And by controlling you and your reactions and your emotions and all of that, you move forward. Like, the last thing me and my dad ever said to each other was when I believe I was like, I would have been 18 or 17 at the time. And I don't know where he sent me a text talking about like my high school graduation and all this. I don't remember what I don't remember the details of everything I said, but I sent him a text message that has something along the lines of, I no longer walk around with any anger or hatred towards you. And I forgive you for what you didn't know, but I don't forget. So for that reason, I have zero intention of ever having you back in my life. I wish the best for you. May God bless you with everything that's coming your way.
mhm,
And in a wild way, it's as if by letting go of the anger and hatred, you just see them as a person. You
yeah.
detach from, this is my dad and this is a person.
The
And
story, you drop it.
yeah,
Mm,
and you free yourself from that. You say, if a person treated me this way, would I have them in my life? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go back to that person.
yeah,
But when we apply these labels of, no, but that's your dad, but that's your mom, that's your
yeah,
aunt, that's your cousin,
yeah.
now you have a story going on, like you just said,
Oh,
that
yeah, it's the
keeps you
story.
stuck. But when you
Mhm,
let go of the story, when you let go of the story of, I am what happened to me, and
yeah,
instead you look at it as, something happened, I'm a person, I can move forward despite that, you free yourself and you get to enjoy life. It's something that no matter how long I sit here and try to explain it in words,
mhm,
you have to do it to
yeah,
know it.
yeah, yeah, that's it's I say that too, uh, as far as words go. Some of my best experiences I've had in my life, I can't put words to what I was feeling, what I was seeing. There's just not words for it besides like, I go back to the Bible, like, how did they do this? You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain something that there's not a word for, but that will last forever? You know what I
I mean,
mean? Like,
they got 1,500 pages just trying to describe it, and even if you read the whole Bible, you know, I didn't interrupt you, but you just struck a point that, like, I need to go
yeah,
into.
no,
Like,
no, for sure,
the
go.
the reason the
Uh-huh.
Bible is 1,500 pages is because they're trying to explain the inexplainable.
Yeah,
They're trying to explain the source of everything you can see, everything you can think, everything you can't see, and everything you can't think.
yeah,
They're putting words to something that there are not words that could ever explain.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, man. So, Lawrence, I gotta ask, but this conversation has been so beautiful. We went a lot of different ways here. What does Lawrence do for fun? I know you said you fish. What do you do in Philadelphia for fun?
Fish, we have a lake here.
I fish.
Like,
And you
I
fish.
fish,
Oh,
I
oh,
live,
yeah,
I like, I just am. It's like
yeah,
I could be sat inside of a dark, locked, cold room and entertain myself with my own thoughts. I could be having a conversation with someone, like, when I'm out fishing and
yeah,
people come up and they're like, "Hey, you know, it's my first time out here." I will sit there and give them, like, a master class on fishing. Like, I will tie their bait for them, I'll put the hooks on there. I just exist in this
yeah. You're loving life.
flow. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I
Yeah,
do get sad, I do get frustrated at time, but then I realize, like, "Oh, well, I mean, it's an
yeah,
emotion. If
yeah,
I don't want to let this storm grow, I can just let it pass." So
yeah,
when people say, "What do you do for fun?" I just
yeah,
say, "I am fun." Like, I just
yeah,
am what I desire to be.
for sure, for sure. What about the plans in the future? Are you I mean, something you're building towards? I mean, you're making
Mm.
lots of videos with YouTube, guest
Yeah.
speaking. I mean, where do you see yourself going here?
I'm probably gonna be doing I'm trying to do like a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like, you know how they have, like, Super Bowl halftime shows?
for sure, for sure.
Instead of it being music, I wanna be up there giving a speech to, like, 50,000 people inside of an arena, and
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
"Who is this guy?" Um, I kinda and then when I'm, like, 75, I'm gonna buy myself, like, a little cabin in the woods and live out the rest of my days on a rocking chair,
yeah,
and there'll be, like, signs where, like, people can know where I am, and they can, like, come there, and I'll be like a old man giving them wisdom
yeah, yeah,
until, like, one day somebody comes, and then they just find me, like, dead in my sleep on my rocking chair,
yeah,
and it'll be, like, the most that's, like, the most beautiful way to go out,
for
watching the
sure.
sunset on a rocking chair.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
by the age of 25, I wanna visit Vietnam and take, like, a boat ride there. I just feel like that's such a peaceful place.
yeah,
Man, I got all sorts of plans. I don't know, maybe one day I might, like might maybe when I'm, like, in my 40s or 50s, I might have a couple kids.
yeah.
I kinda
Sounds
think about, like, the future as just one giant moment of now. Like, what is my idea of infinite fulfillment in this moment? That's my
yeah,
view on the future.
yeah. Living in the now. I mean, that's where you get the most work done. That's where you get the most fulfillment from, where the miracles happen in the now versus thinking about tomorrow and yesterday and all that other stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like, I was having a conversation with one of my friends a few days ago about how when you step back from it and you're like, it's easy for us to get stuck in the now too, where like if you got fired from a job or you lost some money, you're like, man, this sucks, this is terrible, and I lost my money, and you're stuck in this moment. But you forget that this has happened before, and I still was able to navigate it.
Yeah.
I had a breakup before, and yeah, emotionally, this sucks, but
Yeah.
it won't suck forever.
Right.
Like, and
So
when we allow ourselves to get stuck in the painful now,
yeah.
it's it's as if that's easier. It's easier for us to wallow in the bad than it is for us to wallow in the good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had this visual of, like, playing video games, like, you're on your video game and you die, it's a game where you have to, like, respawn, and it's like,
Yeah,
well, each time you die, it's like, especially the video games of my era, like, they were difficult, I felt like, and you would die and come back, but each time you came back, it was easier, like, you're like, "Okay, I know now what to do of not to get eaten by the tiger," and you
yeah,
just hit a couple buttons and you get around him is my point I'm trying to make here metaphorically. The video game was just
I get
each
it.
time it gets easier and easier, those challenges, the difficult moments we have, whatever it is, the chaos, navigation becomes a little bit easier. We finally upgraded to GPS, so,
Yeah, life
yeah.
is a life is one giant journey, and you never really get you. You mentioned this earlier that we're all on a journey, not a destination,
Yeah,
and the beauty is that you when you understand it's a journey and you just sit down and you enjoy the thing, you don't want to get anywhere. You just want to be. Because the idea of I need to get mean that I don't have. And because I don't have, I lack. And because I lack, I feel bad about it. But the truth is that when you simply are on the journey, you transcend the idea of lack. Because how can I lack if I am what I desire to be? Like, the money, that's a result of being. The relationship, that's a result of being the kind of person who's capable of having that. The success, the business, the car, the whatever. That is a result of who you're being. And we can chase the destination, but you'll never get there. Because if you're
yeah,
chasing a car, you might get that thing, but then I need something else. I need something else. I need more. I need more. I need more.
yeah,
But when you become fulfilled with yourself and fulfilled with who you're being and the person in the mirror, now you're like, I mean, I'd like another car. Like, I'd enjoy that. That would be fun to have,
yeah,
but I don't need it. I'd
yeah,
enjoy it, but if I don't get it, I'm fine either way.
yeah, yeah, man, God. Yeah, you are wise beyond your years, my friend.
Yeah, try going fishing for 10 hours a day in silence. You'll start having some it's like God
Look,
starts talking to you.
that's the secret. We need to go fishing for 10 hours, and then
I
all of
mean,
a sudden you become enlightened.
hey, there's a reason why those Buddhist monks sit there in silence doing nothing all day.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
reason
Yeah,
behind all this stuff. I'm not
yeah,
saying that everyone needs to go fishing. I'm just
right,
saying that it worked for me. And
right, right.
journaling, I'm not saying that you're gonna do this one time and then you have some like Buddhist awakening where the clouds open up and you transcend desire and you just escape and you sell all your possessions.
Yeah,
No, you simply learn to love the now moment, and
yeah.
you end up sounding crazy to your family, but that's the price you got to pay. The
It does.
price of inner peace is seeming crazy.
Yeah. And you never know, though, you know what I mean? All it takes is a couple words for something to hit home that finally it clicks, and they're like, "You know what? God dang, that Lawrence, he is onto something. You know, I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
up fishing today."
Yeah, like, I and especially too, like, I talk like this pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Even when I'm on dates, I've been on dates talking about this sort of stuff, and they're just like, "Huh?"
Alright.
Yeah, yeah, my mom needs me to go home, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, hey, it is what it is. That
Yep,
just
yep,
wasn't the one."
yep.
Like, she
Oh,
doesn't wanna learn about transcending desire and suffering.
yeah, yeah. My friend, I would love to do this again with you, and I think now that I have your email and we got to formally get to introduce and know each other and talk about some amazing things for the show, I would love to do this again and you pick a
Me
topic or
too.
a couple topics, where we can really hone in on that area. Today was about, for me at least, um first all, our listeners getting to know you, and then, yeah, kinda being the squirrel, chasing the nut through the trees and seeing where we go. But definitely, I'd love to do this again with you and find a topic, my friend.
Yes, I would love that too.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, so what's on the rest of the day for you? You going fishing or
No, it is 100 degrees here. I'm not going fishing in that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
no
I
we
went
got a
fishing
pool.
like 3 days ago, and
Yeah,
that was enough to scratch the itch. I'm probably gonna go few days from now when it's not a heat wave.
yeah, we're in the
I got a
same boat
bunch
too.
more like emails to fill out, a
Yeah.
YouTube video to post. I'm gonna go read a book,
Mhm.
meditate.
What do you do for reading? Or, like, what do you reading?
So I read a little bit of everything. Right now I'm in the process of rereading and re-annotating the entire Bible
Oh,
because
really?
it's it is a hefty undertaking,
Yeah.
but it's so many valuable nuggets in this thing that when I'm giving speeches, I'm able to reference. Because the great thing is that it has a little bit of something for everybody.
Absolutely.
And even though I don't use it in a religious context, I view it as like a book of knowledge. Um, other of my favorite books that have really struck out to me was there's this book called The Plateau Effect. Where have you ever had a moment in your life where everything's going really, really good, like your life is going fantastic, and then things flatline, and for some reason, no matter what you try, it's just flatlined. That's the plateau effect. This book teaches you why that happens, what to do, and how to break out of it. Other books that have really stuck with me
Back up
are
real quick. So I haven't read that, but, uh, correct me if I'm wrong. So plateauing, is that for fully understanding, knowing, uh, through every cell what just happened, getting a grasp on it before you go up the mountain again? Or what is your take on the plateau?
so the plat. Okay, so you're referring to the book or my own like journey of plateauing?
Your own plateau,
Okay,
Lawrence's
my own
plateau.
plateau
Tell me about it. Like, how do you
for
get
me
past the top or the plateau?
for me, the thing I did was I took a look around. I'm like, okay, well, the stuff I'm doing has worked up until this point. Who do I need to become to get to that next level? It's like you have to, sort of like a caterpillar, right? A caterpillar doesn't just crawl harder, it sheds who it was and then it flies away. It becomes unrecognizable. It becomes that evolved version. And to become the evolved version of yourself, you have to go into like the darkness of the chrysalis. So this is kind of well, your listeners would relate to this. When you're trying to achieve some like massive thing, Such as for me, when I went from recording my videos outside in the rain to having an office building, that was not a small transition. That was a black and white shift. That was okay. Now you're putting your name on a lease. Now you're having to put money up for this. Now, if you don't pay these bills, there's problems. That is not a small thing. That is a black and white shift. I
Yeah, you got
had to
skin in the
become
game.
someone different to pull that off. So when you're in a major plateau, like your money is always at the same number, your relationships always have the same pattern, your health always same pattern, you have to become someone different to reach that next level. And it's hard for us to write our prescription for ourselves because you're thinking, well, I have this job, I have this responsibility, I have this thing in my life, that thing. And you think of all these limitations, but you have to write it down as if somebody with your situation came to you and said, here's my situation, here's where I'm trying to get, what should I do? And you will give that person the perfect answer because you're detached. You're thinking unlimited possibilities. You're
Mhm.
thinking all things are possible to him who believe. But
Yeah,
when you think about yourself, you're thinking from limitations and restrictions. So what I
yeah,
learned from that book was you gotta open your mind to transcending instead of just trying to do more.
yeah, yeah, beautiful, man. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a avid reader myself, but I go in stages, I think I was talking to a client about that today where I will do a lot of something and then learn or whatever it is, and then it's like, "Okay, pause and take a break, enjoy some life, goof off," and then, goofing off too much, and it's like, "Alright, time to jump back in," you know?
Yeah. It's like sometimes you have to intentionally it's hard to it's this weird duality where you get into these really deep minded conversations. You're like talking like you're a Greek philosopher or you're a Buddhist monk. Then you have to intentionally do something that could be considered low vibrational in these sorts of communities. Like you
Yeah,
have to go to a party
yeah,
or you have to go watch a funny cat video or you have to do something silly
yeah,
so that you don't lose your mind.
yeah, for sure.
Like for me, it's I will listen to music and I'll just like start dancing around in my room.
Yeah,
And it keeps me from like going too far off the deep end one way or another.
absolutely. You have to do that, and I mean, that's all balance, you know? All balance. Yeah. Hmm. Cool, man. You got any final words then?
A final word I would have
Yeah,
is I want to like we've touched on so many things, but the point I want people to if there's anything out of this last hour and 20 minutes that I want you to know, it is you are not who the world tells you that you are. You are not what happened to you. You are not your job. You are not your income. You are not your title. You are who you decide to be. So if you can decide to be anything, make a good decision. And
yeah,
if you want to pivot, you can pivot. You don't have to stay who you were. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm the new me. And you live your truth and you become that.
yeah. Oh my gosh, beautiful, man. Well, I'll have this podcast set up and everything if you want to. Do you have any website or book or anything that you want me to include in the
Yeah.
show notes?
I have my Instagram. I got a book. I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of books actually.
Can you send me links through email for all that stuff? And then I will attach it to the show notes. And then once it'll probably be 2 weeks before I release this podcast. but then, I'll send you an email notification with everything, but I just need links from you and, if you got a pretty picture you want on it, or we could just use the one that's right here on the screen. But yeah, so
Thank you. Yeah, I will send all that over to you shortly.
cool, my friend. Well, we'll be in touch because, I wanna do this again, man. I love your vibe. I love where we went today, and I feel like there's many, many areas left to explore. So,
Yeah, it's like one of the thing that you just brought up again is like there the funny thing about this journey is you're never all the way done.
never.
Every day you learn something new, and every day you become something new, and you are
Yeah.
evolving.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Awesome, my friend.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
It was. I appreciate you, Lawrence. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And remember, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate, reach out to us.